Welcome to Story from Shadow. Tonight, you'll hear 3 chilling tales. A food delivery that turns into a nightmare. A horror story. A mysterious message from the afterlife. And an elevator with a deadly secret. Which story will haunt you the most? Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell if you dare to keep walking in the shadows. I worked for DoorDash a few years ago. This incident happened during my last delivery. I was riding as a scout on a Saturday night, avoiding puddles and shady guys, all for a few euros. If survival was hard, it was worse in New York. I stopped at the restaurant. An old Chinese guy I didn't know, a little bald guy, came out of the kitchen with a package. It smelled like rotten meat. I doubted their hygiene and food when he handed me the package. He told me to deliver at home. Myers. The old man stared at me blankly and said, "Deliver before 00 o'clock. Don't knock." Left on the doorstep, so I should call and tell the client that I mustn't disturb Mrs. Myers. "Mrs. Myers, believe me, it's for your own good." The man went back to the kitchen and I couldn't help but think how weird this delivery was. The GPS led me down an abandoned road. Soon a dark shape appeared in the gloom. A dilapidated shack with shuttered windows staring like dead eyes. Despite the heavy, damp air, a shiver ran down my spine. I double-checked the address. It fit. A faint glow lit the dark porch. No doorbell. I hesitated, then knocked on the heavy chain door. The noise cut through, the silence thick, but nothing. I tried again, more and more annoyed. Just as I was about to drop the case, the door creaked. The face of an old woman appeared through the crack, her blue eyes glowing in the dark. In a hoarse voice she whispered, "Didn't he tell you not to knock?" "Yes, but is it so dark?" I didn't want to leave the food unattended. "Do you look different from the others?" I handed him the package and his bony fingers brushed mine as he took it. His touch was cold and frightening. At that moment, a loud thunderclap broke out outside and a torrential rain began. I whispered to myself, "Damn, now I have to drive in this weather." "Well, you can wait here. Maybe have a glass of wine until the rain calms down." A glass of wine couldn't hurt, so I went in. The interior was in stark contrast to the grim exterior. A roaring fire crackled warmly in a large stone fireplace bathed in a cozy glow. A luxurious living room. Eleanor showed up apologizing and invited me to dinner with her. While I was eating, Eleanor talked about the weather and the city. His eyes, the only part of his face illuminated by the fire, glowed with a surprisingly vivid number. A strange sensation began to run down my spine after the last bite. A strange emptiness settled in my stomach. "Thank you," I said, pushing back the plate. It was deliciously different. I had no idea this place was so good. Eleanor chuckled, showing those crooked teeth, and said, "Yeah, you often judge by looks. Okay, it's time for dessert." I stroked my full belly, saying I had no more room. That's where his face changed. She smiled, grabbing a sharp steak knife, and said, "Dessert is for me, honey. Glad the place sent a fat guy after so long, and even more glad you knocked on the door." A sudden vertigo hit me. My head was spinning, the heat of the fire becoming overwhelming, panic invaded me. I tried to get up, but my legs were heavy. Eleanor approached, hungry with a cruel smile. She was no longer frail at all. "I'll savor you slowly, I promise." It wasn't just a bad takeout, it was way more sinister. In a rush of adrenaline, I grabbed a heavy brass candlestick on a nearby table. When Eleanor rushed in, I hit with the candlestick. A sickening crack rang out as he collapsed. An inhuman growl escaped from his lips. She was still trying to reach me. Taking advantage of the respite, I staggered toward the door. My vision blurred. My hands fumbled, the handle finally finding it. I flung the door open and ran into the rain, panting, not looking back. I didn't stop until I saw civilization as a mirage. In the distance, seeing a car, I waved my arms, then passed out on the muddy road. At the hospital, the doctors were perplexed by what I said about an old cannibal. They found drugs in my stomach. Probably wine, because we ate the same thing.
If you're enjoying these dark stories, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Story from Shadow.
More
Your support
amazing,
keeps
the
the
restaurant
shadows
where I
alive.
took Eleanor's order has disappeared. He was nowhere on the GPS. I'm sure secret restaurants in NYC feed his cannibals at night. I just finished a long day and ordered from my favorite sushi place. I was still adjusting to life without Brock. My fiancé died mysteriously 6 months ago. He had been immersed in rituals since the loss of his mother, seeking to contact her spirit. His absence left a void that nothing could fill. That night, the delivery man kept the bag longer, staring at me with a troubling look. His dark, piercing eyes, his attitude gave me goosebumps. He handed me the bag and left without a word. Closing the door, a note fell from the bag. It said, "Brock and alive." My heart raced. Was this possible? I ran outside, but the delivery man had disappeared into the night. I felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. I had to find out more for the next 13 days. I ordered the same dish, hoping to see this delivery guy again. Every night a different person would knock on my door, and every time I was disappointed. On the 13th day, he finally arrived. "What did you mean by Brock and alive?" The delivery man seemed perplexed. "Sorry, I don't understand. This is my first delivery here. Is that a joke, ma'am?" "I'm just delivering your meal. Do you know Brock?" "I don't know any Brock. Look, I don't want any trouble. The meal costs €12.50. I was confused, lied. He left, and I found another note in the package. "Brock can hear us. Meet under the Mount Boulevard Bridge tomorrow night at 6:00 p.m. The next day I was there, cold wind in my hair. I waited an hour in vain. Disappointed, I went home, but my apartment looked devastated by a hurricane. Wall decor disappeared, TV apps and disorder everywhere. Drawer of my room searched. I was panicking. That's when I realized the delivery man was a crook. He must have seen that I lost my fiancé and planned everything to get me out and loot the house. I called 911 with shaking hands. 2 policemen arrived quickly. They calmed me down and took the details. Another unit came in with shocking news. They found a van with my stolen items in the parking lot. The thief didn't leave with the loot. We may have the thief in it. I was too upset. I didn't check the guest room. The police burst into the room. One officer gasped. The other came out talking on the radio. I saw the thief dead, covered in blood, surrounded by broken glass. What happened? I was horrified. The cops looked at me suspiciously, then noticed the mirror in the corner written in 100. We read, it was Brock. I was in shock. Was his mind involved in all of this somehow? That night at my sister's, I had a restless sleep, my house sealed. I was overwhelmed with fear, confusion, and pain that I had finally begun to avoid. But in my dream I saw Brock. He was as he was before he died. Bo, with that sweet smile that always reassured me, he held out his hand, but before I could touch him, he was gone. When I awoke, I felt a strange peace, as if Brock had sent me a message. I got up and went to the bathroom where I saw a faint reflection of Brock in the mirror, smiling at me, tears running down my face as I whispered to his reflection, "I miss you so much, Brock." His reflection faded, but the warmth in my heart remained. I knew Brock was still there watching over me. I did not understand these supernatural events, but I felt a deep connection with Brock's spirit. I have been managing Arrow Apartments for over 10 years, the ill-reputable building and known to delivery people for its frequent strangeness in the elevator. Some say it's haunted, others cursed. Anyway, my job is to make the house spin as much as possible in a place like this. Rumors have been circulating for years, but some incidents have sealed Harrow's infamy. The first was the most shocking. A young delivery man, in his 20s, entered the elevator with a bag of food. The video showed him nervous as soon as the doors closed. He seemed to hear something. Then his eyes widened in horror. Without warning, it caught fire. Spontaneous combustion. Let him say a moment there. The other part in smoke. How can someone get on fire like that? The second incident was not easier to explain. Another delivery man, an older man this time, entered the elevator. The footage showed him clutching his chest. Once the doors closed, he collapsed. A stroke, the doctor ruled, though the timing didn't sit right. Then there was a third, a woman delivering groceries. When the door shut, she screamed, stared at an empty corner, and banged on the doors, begging to be freed, only to die of a heart attack. She knocked on doors, begging to get out, then fell dead of a heart attack. These incidents never happened to residents, only to delivery people, and not to all delivery people, just some. Bruce was young, carefree, extroverted. He would slap my hand at every delivery to the residents. There had been talk of the reputation of elevators, but Bruce didn't believe it. Young and reckless, he dismissed the warnings as superstitions. It's just an old building. Nothing's gonna happen to me unless the elevator cables give out. You'd end up in jail, buddy. That day he came in with a bag of takeout. I wasn't at the reception, but I saw it later. On surveillance cameras, he pressed the 10th floor, but the elevator stopped after a few seconds of climbing. Lost, he pressed lots of buttons but nothing happened. The video showed him standing confused when he suddenly collapsed but remained standing as if asleep. What I saw afterwards, I don't believe in spirits and all that, but he avoided it. Seconds before he fell, Bruce woke up and frantically pushed the buttons. His eyes widened in terror as he turned to a corner of the elevator. He screamed and knocked on the doors, terrified. Then an almost invisible shadow appeared in the corner. Bruce saw it too and froze. The camera bugged. The screen went black. When the image came back, Bruce was gone. He got into the elevator without getting out. It vanished without a trace. What's going on in that elevator? The legend goes back to the construction. During the crisis, work stopped on the 21st floor due to lack of money. Unemployed workers experienced hunger and despair. A desperate worker jumped from the 21st into the elevator shaft. His body was never found even when the construction site was resumed. Some believe his vengeful spirit haunts the elevator, targeting those with food as a cruel reminder of starvation. Others suggest something darker, a curse or a haunting rooted in tragedy. I tried to have the elevator inspected, but the technicians never found anything wrong. It's like those who haunt the elevator know when you're watching it. Residents have their own theories. Some say that the mind of the worker is trapped, constantly reliving his last moments. Others think it is a curse. Getting in with food would be fatal. I don't know what to believe, but I'm sure of one thing. The elevator is dangerous. I thought about quitting, but something holding me here may be the hope of breaking the curse, of soothing the spirit, or the fear of leaving without ever knowing the truth.